so we're here with Helen Maroulis, an Olympic gold medalist, four-time world champion, and RAF bantamweight champion as of this Saturday, so congratulations. We're here at Beat the Streets at L'Enfant Plaza. What brings you here today?
Yeah, so today I love being a part of Beat the Streets. I'm on the board for Beat the Streets Washington, D.C., and we're just going to teach a little clinic, teach the guys and the girls some wrestling and hang out and chat and wrestle.
All right, so what do you think of this space here that Beat the Streets has here at L'Enfant?
I think this space is amazing that Beat the Streets acquired. I heard that it's perfect location for the metro and the lines coming in for the kids to have access to. It's great mat space, great lighting. It's cool that it's in a mall. You can probably get food and stuff after, but I heard that they provide that for the kids. And so this is just really amazing to see this come to fruition. I know that the group has been working really, really hard on this, and it's amazing what they're doing for the kids.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're a board member of Beat the Streets. What made you to want to get involved with Beat the Streets specifically?
Yeah, so I first learned about Beat the Streets in 2011. I wrestled in a charity event for them, and then I did it almost every year and every time they've invited me. And I just love it. I love what they do. They help the youth, inner city youth in particular, girls and boys, not just with wrestling and to teach them that, but also to help prepare them for college and just to do well in school and tutoring. They provide a whole bunch of resources. So I've always been a fan of the Beat the Streets organization, and I love to help out and be a part of it in any way that I could. So when the board opportunity opened up, I had to jump on it.
So you started wrestling at 7. I think you've talked about it a little bit. When did you realize that this was something more than could be like a hobby or something you do in high school, something you could do in college or the Olympics even?
Yeah, so I started wrestling when I was 7 years old. I fell in love with it, but after my first year, my parents came to me and said, it's not an Olympic sport, there's no future for you, so you have to quit. And then later that year, the International Olympic Committee announced that women's wrestling was being added to the Olympics, so my parents came back to me and they said, hey, it looks like there'll be, college scholarship opportunities and things of that nature, so if you want, you can keep wrestling. So for me, at 8 years old, I said, the thing I fell in love with got taken away, and the only reason it got added back was because of the Olympics, so that's what I want to do. And so I think it just, reflects how opportunities can create paths for people. And so something like Beat the Streets, it's just creating opportunities for these kids so that they can have a path and they can forge their path and choose it despite the circumstances that they may have came from.
Yeah, so when you commit to being like an Olympic level wrestler, how does that change your day-to-day routine? What's the difference between training for the Olympics or being in high school or college as a wrestler?
Yeah, saying that you want to go to the Olympics at 8 years old is very different than the pursuit of it. I made my first senior world team when I was 17 years old, and I've just been pursuing it ever since I moved away from home. I train full time. I treat it like it is my profession, and my body's my business, and I do my very best to maximize being the best wrestler and person that I can be. So, but at the same time, it's something that I love it, and it's something that I get to do. I get to do what I love every day. So there's obviously a lot of hard work and stuff that comes into it, but have great support system, and I think when it really does take a village, and that's a special aspect of it too.
Yeah, so kind of going off that, your first Olympic trials 2012, you didn't make the team. What did that teach you, if anything, about that setback?
Yeah, losing in the 2012 Olympic trials was probably one of the most pivotal moments of my career. I wanted to quit wrestling and felt like the thing that I loved the most just produced just a lot of pain. And, I look back now and it's if the worst thing that's ever happened to you is you lost a match, that's a pretty dang good life. But it's kind of the thing that fueled me to commit for 2016, and I just gave my life to God and even gave him my career, and I just said, whatever you want me to change these next 4 years, I'll do it. I just don't want to have any regret. And so that was I gave it 4 more years, and I just want to do my best and not have regret.
Yeah, so going on to 2016, you made the Olympic team that year. You actually won the gold medal, and what I found really impressive was you beat Saratoria Yoshida, who was 89-0 at the Worlds, the Asian Games, and the Olympic Games. I think she had only lost like twice before that. You mentioned in another interview that you had actually learned Japanese to hear what the coaches were calling, but what was that whole thing like?
That is actually not true. I did one interview after the games, and that's just spread like wildfire since. What I had said, I never said I learned Japanese. I just translated all of her interviews because I wanted to understand her mindset. This was Saori Yoshida, who had never lost a Worlds or Olympic Games since women's wrestling became an Olympic sport. And so as I translated, all these interviews, and as I got to learn more about her as a person, and as I got to go to Japan and train with her, I just realized that she's a champion on and off the mat. And so instead of, viewing her as like an enemy or an opponent, she really became a hero and a role model for me to push myself to aspire to be something, instead of trying to bring someone down to your level.
All right. So a few years after you win Olympic gold, 2018, you go to India and you suffer a traumatic brain injury. What was that whole process like going through that? Because that must have been pretty devastating.
Yeah, so I had a series of concussions in 2018 to 2019, reconstructive shoulder surgery, left some really unhealthy relationships and environments, and I really just kind of had to rebuild my life and my career. I had a PTSD diagnosis, 2 inpatient facility treatments for that. So it was definitely a rock bottom, but also it was very eye-opening to just see, like, per the human experience, you can have these, mountain tops where you're winning an Olympic gold medal, and then you can have these really low valleys where, you just feel like you're struggling to get by. And both of those helped make me the person that I am, and they helped me to learn and grow a lot. So I'm thankful for both of those experiences.
Yeah, so with those mountains and valleys, you actually made it back to the Olympic Games twice. You won a couple more world championships. You recently joined Real American Freestyle. Could you describe what that experience has been like?
Yeah, Real American Freestyle is a blast. I'm so grateful for that and for that opportunity, because I really only compete once a year in the U.S., and that's for the world team spot, for the Olympic spot. And other than that, I don't do any competitions in the U.S. One, because there really aren't any. Most of the things are qualifiers. And secondly, all of the ranking and tournaments that we have to do are always held overseas. So to have this opportunity to wrestle multiple times in the U.S. in front of a home crowd, and to be able to just like meet and greet with the fans and the kids and everything, and like it's such a great production, is really amazing.
And as for your future career, do you see yourself competing in LA in 2028?
Yeah, I've been saying take it day by day, especially after Paris. I thought I was going to retire, and now I'm just, taking it one day at a time. But I think that path is revealing itself, and it does seem to be LA 2028. So.
All right. What advice, and I know this is kind of like jumping all over the place, but what advice would you give to girls that are considering picking up wrestling?
For girls that are considering picking up wrestling, I would say just go try it, because if you have an inkling for it, just pursue it. It's so much fun. Any preconceived notion or thought that you might have about it, you won't know until you try. And I find that if I feel called to something, I just want to go explore it. And generally those passions, they always help me as a person. I love to learn new things, and wrestling is one of the most fun sports I think you can do. And I think you'll find that there's a great community here, there's great support here, and you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
And kind of speaking about girls and women in general, what do you see over the next few years for women's wrestling? Do you think it's on a growth track? Do you think there's something special coming up?
Yeah, women's wrestling is already the fastest growing sport in high schools in America, and so I see that continuing, especially as it now has NCAA Division I sports status. And so I think when we see more programs add women's wrestling, we're going to see a lot more girls. There's going to be a lot more opportunities. So I think it's just going to continue to grow and explode, and as it should, because it's amazing. The qualities that it instills in you, and just the opportunities that you'll get to have through wrestling they're so life changing. And so I would love for every girl to experience that.
All right, I know this is still kind of jumping between, but when you aren't wrestling, when you're off the mat, what are you doing? What are your hobbies? What are your interests?
When I'm not wrestling, I love to salsa dance and bachata. I got into those a couple of years ago. I got into playing the harp a couple of years ago. I love to do that. I love reading. I love working on projects. I started my own shoes. I make my own wrestling shoes that I'm coming out with this winter. And puzzles, reading, shopping, you name it.
So, for my last question here, your resume is very impressive. It's pretty much unparalleled. When you have won all that you've won in your career, what keeps you going?
What keeps me going? I wrestle for God, and so I just know that the athlete window is not going to be forever, so I want to maximize it, enjoy it as much as possible, pursuing my faith in sport in this way. 2, I love what I do, so obviously that's the gift in and of itself. And then 3, I'm just surrounded by amazing people. The team is great. I have great teammates. I love where I train, and it's not miserable. I'm not, there's been a lot worse situations that I've been in that I've had to fight through, but I would say the last couple of years with wrestling, they've just been such a joy, so why not keep going?
All right, Helen Maroulis, thank you very much. Maroulis.